Okay, so I've been thinking over the past few days that the idea of the earth, water, air, fire, then ether might not exactly be correct. Instead, what I'm seeing more so is the earth here, the water, fire, air, and then ether. If we were to look at the actual planet, we have the horizon line here. On the horizon line we have water, and then we kind of have a basin of earth which carries and holds the water. So earth and water, this pretty much is indisputable. Of course there is water within the earth, but it's another thing. And then around here, fire usually is around this area. You don't really have fire in the sky. Or do you? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. So we can kind of say that, and then the air, the upper air, which is where the clouds and all that is up here. That's where the air element is. And then up in the highest level is you've got the sun, the moon, and all the little planets and stars. So here we can see our earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Or ether basically is the highest point of the sky, at least naturally. Now, could you debate and say the lower area is air and the higher area where that blue glow is fire? Maybe. You could say that. That's one way to say it. Or is that blue glow the ether? The blue glow, I was thinking, it's kind of like a fluorescent light bulb. If you think of the sun as some kind of giant electromagnetic power source, and it's heating up the higher areas of the atmosphere, the highest areas here, or not really heating it up but irradiating it. It's giving it like energy. It's giving it power, and then all of that noble gas up there is glowing. I don't know if that's actually how it works, but just food for thought. But within the body, as we see, we have all these nice little diagrams here. Here it is within the body. At the bottom, of course, the bowel region, the genital region is the earth. A little higher around the bladder and the lower belly is the water region. This is where, the chubby lower belly is. The upper region here is more the digestive tract, the liver, the stomach, the upper intestinal region, and the small, part of the small intestines is the fire region. And again, debatably, is this fire region, or would you say this whole area is the water region, and then you have the air region, and then you have the fire region? Again, I'm kind of thinking that this is the fire region because, in the body, this is where the heat is produced. This is where the destructive kind of distillation, such as how the fire is happening. Then, of course, the air region, because it is, the higher parts, the thinner, the more spiritual parts. You can see these symbols. The fire triangles send energy upwards or downwards if they're a downward triangle, or any direction which the triangle is directing itself towards. So you can see this one, the bladder is sending water down, the earth is sending nutrients down towards the root of the body and the legs. While the digestive system, of course it does, physically the digestive matter goes down, but spiritually the vaporous heat and hot air goes upwards to the body. The thinnest parts, again, they go upwards to the brain and to the legs. The arms. The arms are more movable and active than the legs. The legs are more heavy, stable. So again, the The chest region is the air region, which links up to the arms, the same way that the earth region links up to the legs here. It also links up to the head, the same way the earth region links up to the genitals down below. The head region here, as we can see, is the ether, represented by the circle, or what you think of as in the earth is that glowing space where all the stars and planets and the moon and such exist within. That is your head. Now, onto one of the main points. This is the hand, this is the palm, as you can see. This is the back of the hand, so you have your knuckles kind of around here. And we can see this would be a right hand and this would be a left hand, even though they're thumb there, it's because they're facing different directions. The thumb, I believe, relates to the ether. In the human, usually the thumb is the strongest finger, followed by either the index or the middle finger. These two fingers are usually weak, unless it's a person who works maybe manual labor work or is very physically fit and strong. So I believe that the thumb is related to the ether. The ether is the central channel of the body. This would be the spinal cord as well, I believe, and the central channel. So you can think that the thumb goes all the way through the body to the head and is also in a centralized direction, so it's kind of like that. Next is the air finger. This is like a pointer finger or the intellectual finger. People who like to use this a lot are, what you would think of as intellectual, smart and such. And it's fancy or flamboyant. Again, this goes through the body and links up here. But instead of the central channel, it's a bit further out. So we have the central channel and then we have a channel that's a little bit more further out. And of course it links up to the toe, the secondary toe. This one links up to the big toe. I'll show that in another video. Going on, the middle finger, usually the biggest, showing the middle finger and such, is related to the fire element, I believe, which is the digestion. Now, if you take your thumb and you touch the index finger, do that right now with both your fingers, where do you feel the energy goes? I feel that it goes around the chest and it feels, nice and light and such. Now take the thumb and touch the middle finger. I feel like it goes around here and it enhances and helps digestion. So if you're having trouble digesting things, you can touch the middle finger with your thumb and it'll help you out. Next, the water finger. Usually this is the weakest, or not exactly the weakest, but the least able to move. It's very subconscious. It's also where we wear rings, because this is, your emotions. And if you touch the ring finger, I personally can feel this area. If this is kind of the belly button region, I can feel the lower belly button region, the bladder. And it relates to, of course, your regeneration. The water is regenerating your body, a store of nutrients, so to speak, a store of salt and such, and to some extent your sexual and reproductive function. Though of course that's kind of a combination of these two, you could think. Similarly, this is almost lower digestion as well, because it's when they've been digested and all the spiritual energy has been taken out, they go to a lower digestion here and then the lowest digestion here. Then the small finger. Now, small finger relates a lot to this part of the hand. If you understand how to use your little ring finger I mean your small finger, not ring finger, then you'll understand that it's a lot related to this part of the hand, and that's where a lot of the strength is. So it's very internal. This area is very internal. The strength is very much internal, unless you train it a lot, and then you can, you get better with it. If you touch the small finger right now, feel where you can feel. I can feel, the bowel, the butt, to an extent, the genitals, but it's more pulled in. If I touch the both the ring and the small finger, then I can feel the genitals, and I feel more, around this region. So you can touch multiple fingers at the same time. For example, you could touch these two. You might wonder why, the Taoists, they always have that hand position of these two fingers down, like that. So they'd have them down, and this is the hand. It's not the best. And then they'd have middle finger, index finger, and thumb, like so. And they'd have these two pointing up the sword fingers. That's to kind of keep the lower energies down and to project the upper energies here forward, so to speak. You'll also notice that I'll just keep that there, that Taoists were very interested in these two elements, but they were not very interested in these two lower elements. This, of course, you can think of as like the storehouse of the storehouse. Yeah, having that thing where it's like the words, when you kind of think too much about words and they stop making sense. So if you think like the basement of the house, this is the basement of the house. This is kind of the, if you want to think about rooms, this would be the bathroom, the kitchen, the kind of study room, and this would be, I don't know, maybe this would be like storeroom, and this would be maybe the bedroom or computer room. But if you want to think of levels of a house, the foundation, the, upper area, the lower area, the roof, maybe air, and the highest roof is like ether, I don't know. You can think about things that way if you want to. And people maybe some people used to have like things stored in the bottom of their house. They have like barrels and such. And then this is the flooring, and you wouldn't see the barrels because it's covered by flooring, and you've got a house on top and such, like so. That, right? If you can understand anything that I'm drawing here, whatever. So yeah, also if you have like skin conditions, if it's like around here, it could be around the back. This is the back of the body. So this is kind of like the mid-back region. This is like the upper back of the head. This is like the lower, if you've got problems around there or around here. This is like the legs, the root, the lower, the butt, the back of the butt. This is like the front. This is like the belly. You can think this is kind of more like the head around here. You can also just feel them out, and you kind of understand. Now this one I haven't completely understood it, but I've kind of just generalized to give you a general idea of my thoughts on this. I'll figure it out more in the later video, but here, this is the arm. You can see this is the shoulder joint, elbow, wrist kind of joint, and we can see the hand, of course, the fine manipulators, I think is related to the head or the ether element. The air element, I think, is like the wrist and the like forearm related, more further out. So people who are very airy, they got a very long, this area is very long, so to speak, or it's shorter if they're less airy. I think the muscular part and the joint, the elbow and the muscular part, I think is related to fire. So around here maybe. So this is the long manipulator. It's it's got that jar kind of shape, and then again the arm, shoulder like so, and hand, fingers there. And then the kind of chubby part of the bicep, the bicep's a big, thick, water holding part. I think that is the water element in the body, and tricep, bicep. And then the shoulder, I think, again, the sturdiest, this kind of the basis, the most in-socketed part, I think is related to the earth element, the least intellectual, because the hand is fine manipulated, it's very precise, it's very intellectual, it's very got a lot of movements. The shoulder doesn't really have many movements, it's very simple. It just kind of is. Now this is the butt, again related to the earth, so the hip joint, the knee joint, the ankle joint. So if you have a large butt, a very developed butt, like the shoulder, you have a strong earth element, the legs. If you have a very, very big thigh, then a strong water element, I believe. Though I think it can also be the opposite, where the thigh, the ankle is related to the water element and the foot is related to the earth element. So you can flip these around, I think. I don't know, maybe you can flip them around with the hands or something. I'm not exactly so sure, but because it's like a mirror. You can think this is the middle and these are mirroring these, if you get me. Everything's a mirror. The body is a hall of mirrors. Like when you walk in and you see a bunch of it just casually confuse you a little bit. You see like 100 U's. That's the body. It's all, again, I guess it's centering around the core or something. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so, and then the calf, maybe that would be fire. The ankle region and the lower leg, just same area. The wrist could be the air. And then the foot, again, it's the most complicated, most fine manipulated. The smallest part could be ether. But as I said, a foot is on the ground. So you could also say earth, because it's lowest, then water, then fire, then air, and then butt. Ether. You could kind of divide things up that way. I don't really, as I said, I haven't thought about it enough, but that's just, we'll just kind of work with that for now. Anyway, I hope you got something from this and kind of understand my ideas. Think about it yourself, and of course do the finger thing, touch the fingers with the thumb. And now if you want to work on the earth element in your body, then you touch the little fingers and you meditate, and you sit and you meditate and you work on that. Or if you want to work on the water element, or you want to work on both of these and you touch them, you want to work on the fire, or you've got indigestion, you touch the fire. If you have trouble breathing, you maybe got like asthma or something, you touch the index finger, the air finger. And for the thumb, well, the thumb's its own kind of finger. It's like the power source. See, the head is the power source, or the earth, technically the earth and the water to an extent is like the source of physical matter and water in the body. And then I guess if you want to understand things more, you'd say like the digestive tract's the source of the heat, acid, all that, power. Then this is of air, air pressure in the blood and body, and then electricity, electromagnetism, all that. Anyway, that's probably enough for this. So of course, feel free to check the links in the description if you want to buy anything, you want to get chart readings or whatever, or if you want to comment or email me or whatever. And of course, have a nice day.